Dwelling on problems causes stress and hampers productivity. What if you could train your brain to see problems as opportunities? Here's how in 5 actionable steps. 1. Accept that problems are inevitable. Let's imagine you're on your way to work on a route you always take, and you get a flat tire. This event is completely unexpected, and it can make you feel like the day is ruined. Problems are a given. Only the intensity of the problems are a variable. As hard as it is, if you can learn to accept problems as a normal, regular, and completely unavoidable part of life, you'll have taken your first step towards handling them with more grace and objective understanding. 2. Take control of your first impressions and emotions. Let's take the flat tire incident I mentioned earlier. Your first impressions might be, I'm going to be late, or this is going to be a pain, or this is going to cost me money that I haven't budgeted. These first impressions and emotions immediately illustrate the problem in a negative light, rather than what it is, a neutral situation. Prevent yourself from forming these immediate thoughts or first impressions by simply thinking of the problem itself. I have a flat tire. Practice this on small-scale problems like spilling a drink, and then work your way up. Try to focus on viewing the situation with as much logical rationale as possible without focusing on your emotions. 3. Distance yourself from the problem. Once that initial reaction stage has passed, you can focus on distancing yourself from the problem. We often have a highly self-centered view on the world, leading us to think of all the bad ways a problem could affect us. But if you think of the problem as a separate entity, unrelated to you, you'll do a better job of tempering your emotions and thinking about the problem objectively. One helpful strategy to do this is to describe the problem as if it were happening to a friend. Here's how it goes. My friend has a flat tire. She or he needs to pull off to the side of the road and either put on a spare or call a towing company. This helps you avoid the egocentric emotional reactions that typically arise. 4. Learn to objectively evaluate the threats and consequences. Your next step is to isolate the real threats and consequences of a problem from your exaggerated or imaginary ones by making a physical or mental list of all the significant negative consequences it will have. Solidifying a comprehensive list will typically illustrate that your problem is not as destructive as it seemed on the surface. Our brains are wired to imagine worst-case scenarios and exaggerate potential threats so we can over-prepare rather than under-prepare. In the modern world though, this evolutionary programming is less helpful. 5. Ignore reactions. Focus on improvements. Train your brain to think of your response to a given situation as an improvement, an opportunity to learn, rather than just as a problem. For example, in the flat tire incident, it's easy to think, I have a flat tire, now I have to fix it. This is a direct reaction to the situation. Instead, try to think of what went well or what can you do better for future improvements. So example, I have a flat tire. Thank God I have a spare to use. I have a flat tire. I should check the market for better quality wheels to potentially prevent this from happening again. Over time, you'll gradually start seeing problems in terms of the potential improvements they could bring, rather in terms of the actions they demand of you. As with any mental shift, start out with small scenarios and gradually work your way up to larger ones. If you can train your mind to view any personal or professional problems or any problem at all as opportunities for growth, you become way more resilient and adept at handling them quickly, efficiently, and with much lesser stress.